Now, groups can be used to organize scenes, but they can also be used to add additional pivot and rotation points to your objects. Let's take a look at this. I've got this basic wagon here, and this is the one that we organized previously. And the main node of this wagon is the body of the wagon. So if I select the body, that's my main node. And this is great if I want to move the wagon around. So I can basically just grab the body and move the wagon. And that works just fine. But if I wanted the wagon, say, to pop a wheelie, having the pivot point here might not be the best way to do it. So I can't, for example, rotate that wagon and make it pop a wheelie the way that I want. In this case, it might be best to have an additional group. So what we can do is we can actually just create a group that contains just the wagon. So I'm going to select the body of the wagon and hit Edit, Group. And notice how in the outliner we have our group 1, and under that we have the body of the wagon. Now also notice how each object has a different pivot. So the body of the wagon, when I select that, its pivot is at its center. The group, by default, has its pivot at the origin. And right now, we already have 2 different pivot points. So let's take advantage of this and move the pivot point of the group to the back wheel. So all I have to do is hold down my D key and just move that into place. Now, if I want to get this accurate, I can just hop out to my front view here and just make sure that that's centered to that wheel. Now, once I do that, I can go into my attribute editor and turn on display handle. And that gives me a handle with which to grab. So now I can grab this and rotate that wagon up on its wheels so that it has a wheelie. So this is a pretty cool way to organize your scenes. Now, if I wanted to, I could create another group for the front wheel. Let's say I just go ahead and select this and go group again. And we could, again, just hit D, move this pivot out to the front wheel. And again, I'm just hopping into my front viewport here. And now I've got the pivot for this second group on the front wheel. So now I can pivot it up this way, or I can select the rear group here and pivot it up that way. So as you can see, groups are not just for organizing your scenes, they're also tools that you can use for helping your object to move exactly the way that you want.